Good evening, everybody, and welcome for the webinar. Very interesting webinar today, something very close to quite a lot of people's heart. But before I introduce what the webinar is about, let me welcome Krystle. Krystle is the millennial coach. She calls herself the millennial coach, and she's based out of South Africa. So while she was pursuing her postgraduate diploma in coaching, she found her purpose as becoming a coach. And while she was working with other coaches, she realized that few of them, or very few of the coaches, use social media as a tool to find clients. And that is where she started developing ways to empower coaches, entrepreneurs, business owners to use social media very intentionally. And this is precisely what Krystle will be sharing with us today, her secret recipe of social media to get the ideal clients. And before I hand over to Krystle, I would like to share that this webinar is entitled for earning CCUs. So towards either during the session or at the end of the session, I would be posting a link for the Google Forms. If you have attended the full session, you will be able to complete the form. Send me the completed form and we will send you the compiled CCUs end of the November, after 30th November. All right. So with this, Krystle, welcome. And thank you for agreeing to host such a lovely webinar today. We look forward for a lovely interactive one, and over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's always interesting to hear your own words being reflected back to you. You know, as coaches, we do that to our clients. So hearing it, I was like, yes, that's what I do. So that was quite a lot of fun. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. And thank you all for joining me. I know it's 7 p.m. In India time, so I don't know if everyone is in India or if you're all from all over the world, but thank you so much for giving me this time. And I'm hoping that I'm going to give you some major value today so that you can go off and start using social media intentionally. Oh my gosh, Singapore, amazing. Okay, so just as a point, if you can, I just want to check something. If you can put it on speaker view so that I take up the majority. If at the top of Zoom, you will see a little icon. Click on it for speaker view because you're going to see now I'm going to change into a different presentation mode. And then you'll be able to see my presentation in the full screen.
It's already
so
done.
Perfect. And then obviously if I'm going too fast, please ask me to slow down. I get very excited, so I'm happy to slow down. And please, yes, ask questions as I go. You can pause me at any time. I'm very happy to do that.
Okay, so Pooja is raising the hand. Just a moment. Pooja, do you want to ask anything, or how's it? All right. I don't think so. She has. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes, Pooja, is there anything that you want to ask?
I'm sorry. I dialed, by mistake, I clicked on the. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, Krystle, before we proceed, do you want to have the questions during the session, or you would prefer it at the end of the session?
You know, it depends. If it's something particular about this, like a particular slide, perhaps when I move to the next slide, just ask me to stop. And then you can ask questions. That's absolutely fine. You'll see as we go what the flow is like, and then you can make a decision. I don't mind.
All right, great. Krystle, go ahead.
Amazing. Yay. Okay, so let's begin. All right, so hopefully you can speak of you. So you see this big. So like I was introduced, my name is Krystle Kustanovich, and I am the Millennial Coach. I like telling the story of why I call myself that because it's very pertinent to how I use social media. So once I started using social media in a more intentional way, I realized that I was being perceived in a certain way, and the people who were gaining from me were certain types of people. So once I clarified who I was talking to and how I was presenting myself, that's when I actually started realizing how powerful social media can be. So I'm also on the PCC path through the ICF. I got my PCC pass. I did my performance exam in April, and I received my my pass in June. So now I'm just working towards my hours. I should get my 500 hours by January, and then I'm going to claim that PCC. Then I'm also a drama teacher. So that was my profession before becoming a coach, but it's still very much a part of me. I don't know if it's obvious, but I have a theater and drama background. I actually have a master's degree in applied theater. And the most amazing thing I found about that was that theater is all about people and human interaction and motivation and obstacles and goals. So it was such a beautiful, fluid and organic transformation for me to go from theater and into coaching. But of course, it's still very much a part of who I am and how I go forward in my coaching. I'm also a social media advocate. I love social media. I know that there's a lot of negative and toxic things that are out there, but I also know that I'm completely 100% in control of what I see on social media and who I present myself to. And once you understand that you actually have all the control, it becomes a really fantastic place and a beautiful forum to make genuine and authentic connections, which is so important for us as coaches, because working with clients requires a rapport and trust, and it's quite an intimate relationship. So it really is a place where you can cultivate those kinds of relationships. And then I'm a lover of learning. So as it was said, I'm doing my postgraduate diploma in coaching at the moment with the South African College of Applied Psychology. I also have a master's degree. This is my 18th year of studying. I love learning. It's like my favorite thing ever. And I'm also doing courses with Facebook. I've done business courses with a company called Future Females, and I've done Facebook ads training. So I'm constantly upskilling myself. And today I'm going to hopefully give you all the information and all the value that you need. Okay, so we're going to go straight in, and this is basically going to be a bit of an introduction, and I'm going to give you an overview of the framework that I use so that you can hopefully take away that information and begin implementing it for yourself. So I'm hopefully going to quieten down the noise for you so that you understand how we use social media intentionally. We're no longer using it at random. It's very much a strategic process. So the big question, why should we even be using it? I mean, it's, you know, it's for people posting about their animals and their food and their weekend. What is even the point of using it for business? And the number one reason, it's free. You have free access to the exact people that you are wanting to coach. And it's all the time. So you have this incredible platform, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are these really powerful, incredible places where you can communicate with people who you might be able to coach. So that's the number one reason. If nothing else, that is why never in the history of marketing has this ever been available to us. Before, it was about focus groups, and you'd have to pay for pamphlets, and you'd hire people to hand things out, and there were so many nuts and bolts involved, and it required so many resources and time. And now we have access to people for free. Now, the next reason is that there's billions of users. So if you are under the assumption that your clients, the people that you are actually wanting to coach, are not on social media, that, I'm going to tell you right now, is an incorrect way to think about it. Facebook has over 2 billion users. There was a new article that was published last week, and they have the highest amount of users. So out of those 2 billion, I'm pretty sure you're going to find at least 10 people that you would want to coach and who would really love to be coached by you. Of course, there's also the global reach. I mean, we are currently living in that reality. I'm in Cape Town in South Africa, and here I am reaching out to people all over the world. So you're going to have access to people who are from different countries, different cultures, working with diversity. It's just the most powerful tool to be able to reach the people who you're going to make a difference for. Networking is definitely one of the biggest advantages of using social media. So in terms of how I began, when I started using social media in a different way, when I started posting about being a coach and what it meant, and what did you get from coaching, and how do you find a coach, and how much is coaching, and what do they need to do if they want to be coached. So going through that whole process, teaching people about coaching, then talking about other aspects of coaching, what ended up happening were the people who were in my direct circle of influence, my friends and my family, when they started seeing me doing that, they started anchoring in their minds what I was doing and who I would serve. And from that, they would then go tell people that didn't know me. So by talking about coaching and what it did for people, and talking about the benefits and the process and the types of people that I coach, then when they were talking to someone else and they would say, oh, I'm feeling so stuck, I don't know what to do in my life, they'd say, oh my gosh, my friend Krystle's a coach, and she actually was talking about people being stuck and how she coaches them through that. You should go and check her out on social media. And I literally have a paper trail of the people that I didn't know, who would come and like a post or follow me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. And I would see how their interactions with me and the process that they went through with me became this beautiful, nurturing way for me to use social media to convert them from a follower into a client. And so just by changing that one way of posting, it had an incredible impact. You also get to position yourself as an authority. So if you are a team coach, or if you're a positive psychology coach or emotional intelligence, or if there's something about coaching that is your favorite, like that is the thing, when you learned that, you're like, this is me, I'm that, and that's all I want. You're going to be able to now use all of that and teach people about it. That becomes your content. And the more you talk about a topic, the more of a person who looks like they're in the position of authority on that topic. So I was constantly talking about emotional intelligence and thinking patterns and, neuroscience, because I was like, this is so amazing. And the more I spoke about it, the more people were like, oh, Krystle, like, you know what? It sounds like you need some emotion. You need to do something about your emotional intelligence. You should go and actually speak to Krystle, because she posts about that all the time. So you also get to show people the thing that you're passionate about, that you love, that you want the world to see. And then you also, you become an expert. You become in that position of authority for whatever you've decided is your speciality as a coach. This is also a great one. So I get to do market research in real time. And what that means for me is I get to test my products and services. So if I'm thinking, how should I package my coaching? I don't want to exclude anyone. I don't want to say that I have a 10 coaching package and then that's too much for people. I just test it. I put it out there. I ask, and because my ideal client is following me, they're going to say to me, oh, that sounds amazing. Then I know, okay, I'm going to start marketing those packages as a 10 package deal, because I know my ideal client likes that. So without spending any money, without using any resources, with using minimal time, I can actually test whether the thing that I think is going to work will work for the people who are going to buy it. Amazing. And then finally, you get to learn from others in your industry. I follow lots of coaches. I follow, digital marketing gurus. I follow people in positive psychology. I really have such an amazing bubble of growth on my social media. So I'm always going on there and learning something, and then going, well, that thing that they've just said really resonates with me. So let me see how I can curate something that's aligned with what I'm trying to do in a way that will communicate to my ideal clients. So it's really a fantastic, you can see I love social media. I told you I was an advocate. I think I just proved it. Okay. So are there any questions? We're all good. I'm not going too fast. Okay. So in order to get started, the biggest thing for me was getting my mindset right. So I talk about how I created these 3 stages, this process that I created, and I call them stages because of theater, okay? But you can say steps or whatever you want to say. But these 3 stages, the first is the thinking stage. So I really had to have a mindset shift about how I was using social media and how it could be used. So my mindset was the very first place. Once I understood that, I could work on myself as a brand. So me, I'm the millennial coach. I didn't know that from the beginning. That brand of the millennial coach, Krystle, the millennial coach, that came from doing the research, from playing on social media, from asking questions, from seeing who was coming to me without me having to say anything. So who was seeking me out? Because if those people are the ones that are resonating with me, then they're the ones who are comprehending my communication. And that's a very key part of any type of marketing. If your message is directed at the wrong person, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to convince them of anything. So who are the people that will gain from you? How do you know? You've got to do the testing. You've got to do that market research. So once I clarified my brand and who my ideal client was, then I moved into the planning stage. So then I could create content that would resonate with my ideal client, that was aligned with my brand and what I wanted to present myself as and what I wanted to offer. So my intention was aligned with who I was as a coach. And the outcome that I wanted, which was to sell coaching packages, was aligned with my ideal client who would get the outcome and the benefits from what I was offering. Okay. So once all of that was, I put that in a package deal, then, oh, whoopsie, what happened there? Sorry, I got a little glitch. So once I went from that, I could move into the doing. So then I got to implement and execute everything. So the thinking was done, the planning was done. Now I actually had to just put it out there. So I would post things, I would analyze the insights and analytics, see what was working, what wasn't working, and what I could do differently. I would audit it, go back to that thinking stage and check that everything was still aligned, create content, and keep going. So it became the cycle, but actually it becomes stages that you work up because you're always building on top of. So even though we're repeating the cycle, it's constantly building one on top of the other. And I'm going to show you different elements of how I did that in a practical way. So I hope that was helpful. Yes, everybody's cool. Okay, so the mindset shift. I always start with this because this is the easiest for a group of people. Your brand and your client, that's something more specific to your niche or to what you're offering and what you're doing, and it's something I do in a separate thing. So I can do the mindset shift with you. So I realized that I was no longer a consumer on social media. I was not using it to be a consumer. I was now shifting into creator mode or supplier mode, or whichever word works for you. So I was no longer using social media in this random way. I was very intentional about what I was doing because I had sorted out my brand, my client, what the outcomes were, what the intention was, what kind of content I needed to show people in order for all of that to be aligned. And if you can think of it like this, so once I actually got this analogy, I really like it. I hope you like it too. So if you think of Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn as a shopping center, so like the house, the actual building, okay? And our pages are the shops inside that shopping center. So when people go to a shopping center, they're going to walk past shops, Sometimes you see a shop and you're like, you look at it and you carry on. That's the same as people scrolling and not stopping. So they see it, but it's not really for them. So they just keep going. Maybe today you don't need to go and buy a pair of tackies. You're going because you actually need to buy food. So you're walking according to your needs as a consumer. So when people are doing the same thing on social media, the point is that you're wanting your storefront, so your page, when people come onto your page and they get that split second to decide whether they want to engage with your content or not, that is your storefront. That's telling people, what do you do? How do you do it? How much do you charge? You know, there's prices usually in the display. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do on your storefront, which is the same as your pages. Then you want to do something that's actually going to get them to come inside of your shop. That's the key. So not only are they walking past and seeing your shop, you've got to create something that gets them to come into your shop. And that's what your content is. So when people, you know, shops have sales, or there's music, or they put a balloon, or, you know, there's a banner outside, they do something else on top of that display in order to get you to come in the shop. Because the minute you come into the shop, that's when you can start creating a relationship. But until they come in, you don't have that permission. So that's the same as someone commenting or liking your content. So when they comment, like, share, or they send you an inbox, that is them walking into your shop. And you then have the power to decide what it is you're going to do with that relationship. And that is what we call social media behavior. On social media, you get what you give. If you want people to like your posts, you've got to go and like other posts. If you want people to comment on your content, you've also got to go and comment. So it's not only about gaining that attention, it's also about showing that you are reciprocal in what you're doing. Because Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are all about relationships. So as much as people like to, you know, talk about, you know, the evils of social media, it's not social media that's evil. It's the human behavior that's involved. So when you are not doing something that's authentic and genuine, then people know that. So how it works is, if someone likes a post or comments on it, or shares it, or sends you an inbox or DM, what you do with that is really important. So if you now, when they comment, you reply to that comment every time. And not only do you reply, you've got to say something of value. So not just thank you so much, I really appreciate it. That's ending the discussion. So you've just actually stopped that conversation. You can say, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And then ask a question. We're coaches. Questions are our bread and butter. So ask them a question that builds on the comment that they are leaving. I don't understand the question. Florence? So Florence,
Florence, the question about Florence is, since it's about coaching, how do you filter the needs?
I don't understand the question. Needs of what?
So let me unmute Florence. Yes, Florence, you can talk. Hello.
She's still on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, great. My name is Florence, Miss Krystle, and
Hello.
I also do a lot about mentoring and coaching. Now, since this is about social media per se, when we coach somebody, we're looking at the needs of the people, and accordingly, you know, coach them so that they are in a position to get what they really want to do. So on a Facebook platform, you may be getting a lot of people who are interested, but how do you really filter out the people who really need a particular topic,
so
and
that's
who are on a similar platform?
That would be your funnel. So you would gather, you know, 500 people are messaging you. Out of those 500, so by asking questions and actually creating a relationship, you would filter it out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, Krystle, there are questions by others, but let's take them at the end so that you know, your flow is not disturbed. You know, you're going in a very nice flow, and I would not want to disturb that.
Yeah? Amazing, no problem. Okay, so now the whole point of social media is about being social. So it's a give and a take. So when you are posting, you're giving value, but you're also taking someone's attention. So it's also good practice to go and interact with other people's content. And once you are clear on who your ideal client is, you can go find accounts on social media that match your ideal clients, and you can go and interact with their posts. But it's imperative that you are genuine and that you add value. I get so many shallow comments on my content every day from people who are trying to entice me to go to their page so that I like their page or so that I hire them. And that is not aligned with me as a coach, and it's not aligned with my ethics and my authenticity. So for me, when they're doing that, they're just doing that's their strategy. But as a coach, I know personally that if I'm going to go and do that, I might leave 100 comments, and out of 100, maybe 8 people are going to come back. It doesn't matter, because I'm still adding value wherever I can, and I'm still giving more than I'm trying to take. And that sits very well with me, especially as a coach. So I've got another analogy which might be a little bit helpful. So if you can think of going onto social media as if you're arriving at a networking event. So when I think of these events, I get like, it makes me like cringe a little bit. Even though I'm, clearly I'm a very extroverted person, I still, going to a net, it's just like, But anyway, so you arrive at this networking event, you put on your name tag, there's like hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and there's a lot of noise and you don't know where to start. Maybe you see some people that you kind of like, you sort of know them, you recognize some people, okay, so you don't feel too alone, but you're not really engaging with anyone. You're just kind of looking around. That's like when we go on and we just look at stuff. But then someone makes eye contact with us. So now when they make eye contact, that becomes an in. So if someone makes eye contact with me at a networking event and I walk up to them and I go, "Hi, my name is Krystle Kustanovich and I'm the millennial coach. What do you do?" So what happens now is I breach that, I create a relationship and I begin a form of communication. That's the same as you going and commenting on someone's post, or if they comment on yours and you reply. You're now making that two-way conversation. And it's really important that you always ask a question, because by asking a question, you take away the pressure of the person that you're talking to. So instead of them going, "Oh, I don't know how must I react to this?" You're actually asking them for something specific. And if they want to answer it, they will. So you've always got to create that two-way conversation. Okay, so a lot of my students and my clients who I work with, their number one question, what must I post? Oh, I see there is a question. What are the features specifically Facebook as an application? I don't understand that question either. An application where you can use, which add values to our page. Are you talking about how do you set up your page?
Yeah, so what I understand is the person is asking, what are the Facebook features especially which we can use, which can add value to our page?
So you must make sure that you have a profile picture that is a picture of you with a clear background and you're facing the camera. You need to make sure that your handle, it matches what you call yourself as a coach. You need to make sure you have a value proposition statement that is very clear on who you serve and how you help them get what they want. And then you also need to make sure that you fill in your about section in a very detailed way. And you need to have a website or a landing page or something where they can click out of Facebook to go and see more about you. Even if there's someone has interviewed you and you're in a magazine and they can click that, you've got to have something there on your page. Okay, yes. All right, so I'm going to wait to the end. I'm not going to get distracted either. So I also want to help. So, okay, here we go. So what must you post? You must make it client-centric and it's your choice. So what I mean by that is You are posting for the client. But because you know who your ideal client is and what your brand is, and you're aligning your values and what you're doing, and all of that is aligned, it all makes sense. That didn't really make sense. It made sense to me. So what I mean by that is, you're telling the people who are following you, you are giving them some kind of value according to the problems that they have. So for me, you know, sometimes I give journal prompts, or I ask a question daily that they can come and go through with me as a journal prompt, so they can have a breakthrough in some way. And once they go through that, then they see that, oh, actually, you know, there's value here. And then they contact me for coaching. So you have to just make content that is about your ideal client. What does your ideal client want to see? And the only way you're going to know that is when you test content. So it's really important that you make it platform dependent. Instagram is a square, 1080 by 1080. Facebook and LinkedIn, you can do landscape, you can do portrait, or you can do 1080 by 1080. So what I do is I make everything 1080 by 1080 because it works on all three platforms. Whereas landscape doesn't work very well on Instagram. The engagement drops a little bit. So when I make posts on Instagram, I try and make it visually exciting. I use a video. I make it short snippets, like these are 3 things you can do, or this is the 3 things that I do, you know, to use social media or whatever I say. And then on Facebook, you can go into more detail. Facebook is community-based. That's why there is something called Facebook groups. It's about bringing people together. So if you can be on groups and you engage with your ideal clients on the groups, then you really start building that relationship, because it takes a minimum of 8 interactions with someone before they will spend money with you. And because coaching is not only a financial investment, it's an emotional investment, and it's a time investment, it makes it triple, it makes it even more, there's more risk involved for the consumer. So you need to make sure that you're consistent in what you're doing. You're always, what you're saying you're doing and what you're actually doing are always matching, and you will then build that trust. I know personally that it takes 6 weeks minimum for someone to come to my page, like something, before they buy something. It's a 6-week relationship that I build with them before they will spend money with me. So I know that, and it is definitely a minimum of them liking or commenting 8 times. And then LinkedIn is more about being an authority in your field. So that's a great place where you can be, you know, you can use the jargon, you can write things academically, you can write articles, you can share articles that are relevant to what it is that you do as a coach. And, you know, you can go a little bit more in depth, because people's mindsets switch between the platforms. So when they're on LinkedIn, they are prepared for that academic speak. When they're on Facebook, they are not. If they see something academic, they're like, ugh. So you've got to make sure you're creating things that are dependent on those platforms. And of course, you can do it so that it will translate over all 3. But you've got to discover what it is that works for your ideal clients. And I am going to give you insight into how you can do that. Very important that if you use pictures, they relate to the content. And like I say, you know, I do courses with Facebook, and they repeat this on every module. Your pictures need to match what you're saying, because what's happening is there's a tendency for people to use sensationalized pictures or a headline to get attention, but then the post is something different. So the 2 things have to match. Even if it's like, you know, it matches an emotion or mood or something. As long as there is a correlation between the 2, what it also does is it then helps you with your trust, because you're showing up and you're saying the same thing, and followers like that. They want to trust you. It's important to be authentic. So if you're doing something because you think you need to, it's not going to land. You've got to do what's authentic for you as a coach and a business owner in what you're doing and what content you're presenting. If you are not comfortable sharing certain things, don't do it because you think it's going to help you. You've got to remain authentic. And it's really important that every single post has a call to action. And what that means is you're asking the viewer to do something. So again, that takes away, because they're going to read something and then they're going to go, oh, cool, and they're going to carry on with their life. But if you say to them, comment with, or let me know what you think in the comments, or if you ask them something specific that's not going to require too much time, then they're gonna make that comment, and then that is your way to begin that conversation. So, you know, it's really just about communicating. It's so cool. Videos obviously they're amazing. Videos have the highest engagement because people actually love watching. They like the movement, and they like it that they don't have to read. So they can even just put it next to them and listen without having to give it their full attention. So videos are fantastic. And then the formatting, like I've said, it's about the sizing. Okay, so this is super important. And I'm hoping this will give you a little bit more clarity. There is a difference between your profile on all of these platforms and a business page or a company page. So on Facebook, when you go onto Facebook and you first, log in, you put your name, your surname, your birthday, your email, where you live, your age, all that, you get a profile. And that profile, then you have friend requests. That is not what you use as a coach and business owner. That is personal. That is separate from what you're doing. If you're already using that as a coach, it's absolutely fine, because by making a page, you're going to, like that funnel I was talking about, you're going to be able to filter out the people who match your ideal clients, invite them personally to your page, and then you've already started filtering the people. So a business page is like amazing, because Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, I don't know, what else is there? There's thousands. All of these platforms have one business model. They leverage attention for advertising. So their goal is to keep people on the platform, but not in a negative way. They're wanting to give people content that they like and engage with. So they're constantly giving you exactly what you are interacting with on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So if you are finding that it's a very negative space, it's because you are commenting and liking on things that are very negative. It's a robot. It's purely according to our own behavior. So when you post something as a coach or a business owner and people start interacting with it, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn go, oh my gosh, Krystle is making posts, and people between the ages of 25 and 28 are really engaging with it. And these 25 to 28-year-olds are also in the finance field, and they also all like going to the beach. So we're going to show other people who are like that, who are not following Krystle. We're also going to show her content to people who are also like that, outside of her followers. And that's how the algorithm works. So if you're creating, that's why it's really important to get your thinking in check, to get that first stage right, so that when you're creating the content, it's landing with the correct people, so that they will engage with your posts, so that Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn do the work for you. Then they're going to open your funnel for you to find people that match your ideal client. It's really fantastic. And so Facebook, you have your profile, and then you create a business page. On Instagram, when you go on Instagram, you create a page. It's a private page. You are going to convert that into a business page and make it public, if that's what you're using, okay? And the only thing you do is you open the analytics. Nothing changes on Instagram. So nobody knows you become a business page. It's only for you on the back end. But if you have an Instagram page and it's personal, you don't want it to be a coach page, make a new page and convert it into a business page. LinkedIn. So the thing about LinkedIn is there's this tendency for people to tag each other in posts so that they see it. Because even if you have 30,000 followers, maybe 2% of them are actually going to see your posts if they engage with your content. So out of those 30,000 followers, if you make a company page on LinkedIn, you will then be able to personally invite people who match your ideal client so that you filter out those connections on LinkedIn who are not going to pay you for coaching. You can make it very small so that you nurture those followers on your company page. And you only know once you take them through the process. So not only is it important to know that you've got a profile versus a business page or company page, you also need the analytics. And this is where the money is, people, because if you don't have the analytics, you are only judging your success on social media with your likes, comments, shares, and inboxes. And that's incorrect. That's only part of it. So your analytics look like this. When you go on Facebook, I'm only going to show you Facebook as an example, but you can get them Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So when you open your Facebook page, your business page, you'll have your you'll have a cover photo, you'll have your profile picture, there'll be a window underneath with your ads and your promotions, and under that will be a window that says Insights. So you can see my insights from July, from the 21st to the 27th of July. That first panel there is my reach. Your reach are the individual, unique people who have seen your content. So you would not know this if you did not have a business page. You would only assume that 5 people who liked it saw what you did. So this is why it's so important. So on that week, 1,533 different people saw my content. And out of those 1,533 people, there were 171 actions of engagement. So that means that there were likes, comments, shares, whatever, it's all counted together. And I also had 3 page likes. Now, your rule of thumb for engagement is that 3 to 5% of your reach, if 3 to 5% of your reach is the engagement you're getting, you're doing very well. And that week you can see I was doing over 10%. So I always go back to that week as a case study to look at what I was posting, to check what was I doing, who was commenting, what can I do more of, like how can I add this to my future content? So I'm really always using data to build on what I'm already doing. Then when you click that see all button, you go back. So now you're going into the back end of Facebook. Now you're like a programmer. I mean, now we are amazing. Yeah, we're high grade. So you can see there that there's a long list of things that you can actually look at, all the data that you have access to from your Facebook page. And at the bottom is people. And I'm showing you people because, like I say, I call myself the millennial coach. You can see that majority of my fans are the people who are constantly interacting with me are between the ages of 25 and 44, which means I am doing everything right. My content is resonating with my ideal client. I'm in the right track. But you can also see that I'm not excluding anyone because I still have Gen Z, I've still got Gen X, and I've got baby boomers all interacting with my content. By really focusing on who you are, what your brand is as a coach and who you serve, it's purely going to clarify your messaging for social media. And the messaging will be interpreted by everyone. And the ones that it will resonate with are the ones that are going to engage. And that's how it works. So I have baby boomers messaging me all the time for coaching, even though I'm like, I'm a millennial. I serve millennials. Millennials are amazing. Baby boomers are like, I want to be a millennial. I don't know what's going on. But what happens is my messaging is so clear on what it is that I do that they go, oh, I want that. And then they ignore the fact that they're not a millennial. So it's really important that you clarify that for yourself. So if I show you a little bit more, you can also see when you must post. So on that drop down, you'll see there under posts, So you can see that there's the days. Now, at that time, I think I had like 330 followers or something like that. And on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and all those blocks, you can see 316 were on Facebook on Sunday. 323 were on Facebook on Monday. 300. So I was like, oh my gosh, majority of the people who follow me are on Facebook every single day. So I would be clever to post every single day, because then it's going to build our relationship quicker. But I don't have to do that. As long as I'm consistent, I don't have to post every single day. And then if I look at that graph, the graph is in Pacific Standard Time. So it shows you there that the peak hour that my followers are online is at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which means that it's 8 p.m. in South Africa. So what I started doing was I started posting when they were online, because then I also have an increased chance of engagements. And remember, when I have engagements, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are going to show more people who are engaging. They're going to show other people who are not following me yet, who match that criteria of that ideal client. So, but another key point here is so at the moment, my algorithm is amazing. I'm like, when I post things, people are seeing it immediately. But when I first started, I started noticing that when I was posting, there was about a 2 to 3 hour lag before people were liking and sharing and commenting. So I was like, okay, if it takes 2 to 3 hours, let me rather post at 5 p.m. so that by 8 p.m., once the algorithm works, it will show up in front of people. And then that's how that was my whole process behind that. So, what have I done? I've had so much success using social media. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so much, it is so much. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle. But once you know all those pieces and you can put them together and you can create a system for yourself, it becomes really easy. But you just got to understand all those little pieces. So that's what I've got for today. If you have any questions, please, now's the time. Let's do this. I hope you gain some value. I hope that you'll be able to use social media in a different way now. And I look forward to seeing you on social media.
So, Krystle, thank you so much. It was very, very enlightening. I think the amount of energy that came up in the session was amazing. There are a lot of questions, and I personally want to ask you 2 questions, Krystle. Yes. So you said about the metrics, which is 3 to 5% of your reach. If that is the engagement, then that is a good metrics to have. Is the metric same for all the platforms, or is it different for different?
It's the same. It's the same.
The same. And also these detailed analytics is seen on Facebook very clearly, but is it also there? This level of depth is there on LinkedIn platform also in analytics?
So LinkedIn, it's not as in depth, but you still see your reach, your impressions, your organic reach, you see all of that.
All right, great. Now, there are a couple of questions. So one is from John Sirao. He's asking, how much time do you spend on social media to market yourself every day, every week?
Okay, great question. So in the beginning, I was on social media every day just to start learning how it worked. Currently, I spend half a day every 2 to 3 weeks scheduling my posts. And if I'm in the process of selling something, so not all my content is selling. A lot of my content is awareness and education and insight and inspiration. And then I move into a selling strategy. So what I do is I spend about half a day every 2 to 3 weeks putting in place that content of awareness, education, inspiration, insight. And then when I'm actually in the middle of an offer where I'm selling something, I'll go on social media every day, maybe like half an hour, but broken up, not half an hour at a time. It'll be like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Anil is asking, can I make the same post for all the 3 platforms? Or
yes, you can. So you can. The rule of thumb is to try and not post on all 3, the same thing on all 3 at the same time. But I know personally that my followers on Facebook are not the same as Instagram, and they are not the same on LinkedIn. So then I post on all three at the same time. But if you've got the same followers, then you should post it like with, a day or two differently.
Okay. What is the percentage of paid advertising you use?
Beautiful. So, Yulka, everything I did on social media was free. So everything I'm explaining to you is the organic advertising I've done. So it's the free advertising. I've only recently started using paid advertising, but it's for my high ticket courses that I'm offering, not for my coaching. So for my coaching, it's only been organic free advertising.
Yeah. And Ulka is also asking another question. What is your reach to conversion ratio?
Okay. The reach to conversion ratio. It depends. It changes every month.
Yeah.
There's no metric for that, because some months like at the moment I'm reaching 110,000 people, but my conversion is like 20 people, but that's because I'm doing something different. Whereas before my reach was 1,500 and then maybe I got 8 clients. So it's a skewed metric.
Okay. Thank you. Shruti Nadik is asking, if I don't have social media presence yet, what is a better way to start? Any advice?
If you don't have it yet, I would start on a platform that feels the most comfortable for you.
Mm-hmm.
So which one out of the 3 would you prefer to be on, and just start there and play?
Yeah. And which is the best social media platform to promote a YouTube channel?
Every platform. And you should be putting it everywhere, posting it like 4 or 5 times a day. Like, don't be shy. Go for it.
Okay. Navneet is asking, which tools can we use for scheduling and monitoring posts?
I schedule everything on Facebook Creator Studio, which is free and it's on Facebook. And I like it because it's an in-house scheduler, so it doesn't mess with my algorithm. But I also know that Hootsuite's really good. I've used Hootsuite before. There's another free platform that I use for LinkedIn called Recur Post, RECUR Post.
Recur Post.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Lakshmi is asking, how important is a website for a coach compared to just having social media pages?
So I also have a website, and it does make a difference because people like to see social proof out of social media. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a website, it's not a deal breaker, but then you must make sure that everything is set up so that it looks like a professional platform. It doesn't look like, just your profile.
Anuradha Sant has 2 questions. One is, how did you create a lovely presentation with a Zoom and speaker window there? So it's very sleek and she loves it. And she's wondering, how have you done that?
It's a program called OBS.
OBS.
Yeah.
All right.
It's OBS, and then I use Canva and Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else? Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And she has another question on, what are your views on Twitter?
What are my views on Twitter?
Yep.
Twitter is amazing. It's an amazing search engine. So you can actually go look for things on Twitter, and it's so powerful. Twitter's great if you're happy to invest time and actually go and comment on quite a few tweets and retweeting. But a tweet, the life expectancy of a tweet is 18 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like you have very minimal wording.
Yeah. Ruchi Rayan is asking, which social platform has got you maximum engagement and return?
Okay, so Facebook, but that's because my ideal client is there. So it really depends on who you are serving. So if you're looking for people in corporates and it's the HR manager, you've got to make sure that you create an ideal client avatar that is incredibly specific, and you humanize that HR manager and you target them on LinkedIn. But you've got to humanize it. You can't just be like, oh, the HR manager, because then you're not actually reaching them.
Krystle, when we talk about LinkedIn, it's an authority, right? So you actually like to post some articles, some published articles, to link to the published articles or something which you are authoritative in your particular field. Now,
Absolutely.
when it comes to Facebook, what is the kind of engagement other than the videos which gets a maximum traction? So if you want to put a content in terms of text or something, what kind of content is something which gives a maximum traction?
It depends on your ideal client.
Okay.
So everything depends on who you're talking to. If I tell you, I can tell you what my ideal client likes, but it may not be the same as yours. So you've got to test. You might find that when you put an article on Facebook, it does really well. Fantastic, do that. I know when I do it, it doesn't do very well. So you've got to test according to who that ideal client is. Who is the person? If you could pick someone to coach, like this would be the person you'd love to coach every single day of your life. If you create that avatar for yourself, it clarifies your messaging and it actually helps with every decision that you make.
All right, great. Ulka says, would you have your videos posted on website or YouTube?
I post my videos directly on Instagram, directly on Facebook, directly on YouTube, directly on LinkedIn. I post them. You can post it from YouTube, but for example, LinkedIn and Facebook, they don't like outside URLs. They don't like it. So when you're posting things from other platforms, it means that when people click it, it's going to take them out of Facebook and LinkedIn. They don't like that. They want them to stay inside.
Mm-hmm. All right. A lot of questions coming in. It's a very interesting topic. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And so Shruti is saying she's juggling with the thought of what type of content to begin with on a business page. About the workshop or advice or generic things, videos or images first. Any advice on how to create a first impression?
How do you want to be perceived? That's what you have to think about. How do you want people to see you? Do you want them? So for me, I want them to see me as a human. I want them to see me as a professional, but it's actually more important that they see me for who I am. Because can you imagine if I had a corporate photo and I had this bland black and white stuff, and then I pitched up at a coaching session, people would have a heart attack. They wouldn't know what to do with me. So I want to make sure that exactly my presence, how I show up in the world, is exactly how people see me. I don't want them to be, get a fright.
Yeah. So Sundar is asking, what is humanizing HR managers?
So what I mean is, if you say HR manager, how old are they? What do they like doing? What is the thing they love about their job? What don't they like about their job? What do they do on the weekends? Do they have interests? Humanize them.
All right. Thank you so much. Arvind is asking, I think we'll take this as a last question, considering the time. How long should one consider it will take to reach the threshold number of connects for your offering?
So how long will it take for?
How long will it take, or how long should one consider it will take to reach the threshold number of connects for your offering? So basically, how much time, how much time, suppose you have a number in your mind, how much time roughly would that take for the reach to have that number?
You need to make that decision. How much time are you prepared to give it?
Yeah.
I've been using Facebook, so and Instagram and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I've actually just started a few months ago. And I mean, I was always on LinkedIn, but I only started using it professionally a few months ago. And it's really, that's the only places I do business. I don't find clients any other way. Mm-hmm. It's the only way. It's the only thing I'm using is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So for me, I started this about a year ago when I started shifting the way I was using social media. And just from making that little shift, I really started to see a difference. And then I built on that. So I learned, and then I built, and I learned, and I built. So, you know, if you don't need social media, then don't use it. You know, if it feels like it's actually not going to do anything for you, you don't have to use it. This is for people who are wanting to branch, who want another way to find clients. For me, yes, it's my only way. But because it's my only way, then I'm strategic. So I don't keep everyone on Facebook. I actually, we have email relationships. So if Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn disappeared tomorrow, doesn't matter to me. So it's really, it really depends on you. There's no right or wrong answer. And I also just want to make a note. If you're thinking of followers as the metric of success, that's incorrect. I'm constantly deleting followers, constantly. Because if I have followers who are dormant or who do not engage with my content, it skews my ratio. So at the moment, I think I have like 300 and something followers on Instagram, for example. Out of those 300, I think, you know, out of the 73 individual clients I have, maybe about 48 of them are my paid clients on Instagram. So my ratio is really good. Whereas when you see other accounts with thousands of followers and you actually go and look at the content and you read the comments, you will see a lot of bots and you'll see a lot of spam. It's not the correct engagement. I don't want spam, I don't want bots, and I don't want businesses. I want actual people who are going to benefit from having a coaching session and a coaching relationship with me. And that's how I navigate it. So I'm constantly cleaning it out. I'm keeping it intimate. I don't want 10,000 followers.
Yeah. So a lot of compliments pouring in, Krystle, wherein people have really enjoyed the session. And some of them have really even written that they will reach out to you one-to-one. Yeah. So
amazing.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. And your schooling in theatrics was so very evident, you know.
Amazing.
So
thank you all so much again. I really hope you got something. Go and play and test. There's no right and wrong. It's only what worked or what didn't work for now. That's it.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in. I have posted the link of earning your CCUs in the chat box. So you need to click on that form. Please copy and paste the link and send it across to me, and I will ensure that you'll receive your CCUs after November. Yeah. So once again, I'm posting it at the end. And thank you so much, Krystle, for the lovely webinar. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.